Everybody, this is like an experimental video. I wanna try to make it kind of live. I didn't set any editing or something. It's more about a random pickup topic that I found. I just wanna share in this late Friday afternoon, evening almost. Just share thoughts based on, of course, something read here and there or experience maybe. And today I would like to share about what are the major points of conflict among people and some example of pragmatic way out or something I have in mind that it happened to me to see as a useful thing. So if I have to try to make a list from them, I would start for saying about communication, because communication happen at any level, at work, personal, with family, with partner, with siblings, with friends, with even unknown people. But the communication is always a potential gap because you have a risk of misunderstanding basically. People make assumption, people is biased, people is like being a prejudice or like, I don't know, for example, what I call bias, stereotype, their own experience, and definitely the risk is to be not clear. Typically in these cases, what it can help could be listening active. Most of the time we are distracted by things. Like now, for example, a huge ant is on me, so I was distracted and I was not talking with proper attention. So active listening, active speaking. So you should not just talk in a random case. You should be more precise. Giving always the feeling to your counterpart you're there. And then you can make sure you understood by getting clarification, getting some feedback from your counterpart. And that's the way to clear out that the intention of the people is the same that we understood. So basically having kind of time to time check, even in a conversation where typically somebody talk and the other one is not completely there. That's my feeling. So communication gap, I would include this in this kind of family. What else? A second point for me could be about having different opinion. Clearly different opinion. Maybe who's talking more precisely can defining like different values, different priorities, right? But basically having conflict. Different opinion is like your beliefs are opposite or not the same, or different goals, targets, or ethical standard, maybe religion there, maybe believing, maybe spiritual, maybe just generational gap, but basically different beliefs and values. So in that case, what is useful is to see if there is a common ground, like a common point that people can agree as a starting checkpoint, maybe we can call it, and having, of course, respect for the other. Because if we don't start from the fact that we have to keep respect for the counterpart, we are not trying to going anywhere. At least we can give a chance, right? Give a chance and respect the other opinion. In the same time, it doesn't mean that we have to give up on our idea, value, but we set boundaries. We set like the borders of our belief and the other belief, but we know there are kind of customs between the borders where we can agree on some point, and this can be the useful spot to ground the discussion, right? At least is a way to see things in between. I would say that we can consider a second point. Another point is when people have different power, literally power, like especially at work, but even in a hierarchy of a family or inside a other kind of group of friends. I mean, there is somebody always more in power, literally or theoretically or practically, but it's like there is a competition, there are these different ownership, values, so there is a dominance, there is someone that is more decision making and the other are followers, and somebody have to respect instruction given by an authority, so you have a conflict there. But when it's very clear about the responsibility and who is doing what and who is in charge of what, and in case of this, what's happening to that, so kind of super clarity on things to do, tasks to have, ownership and so on, of course you can approach things in a different way. So maybe not going specifically through the what they call the individual wins, but having a general picture, and from there to see who is in charge of what and who can take care of what, and agree on common things. Maybe in case like this, when the tension is high, when the topic is risky, having a mediator that is a position equidistant from both, it can help to someone make the party getting closer or seeing less extreme opinion and blah blah blah. So yeah, why not use a third party person, a neutral person, neutral entity that can help to mediate. That's definitely a thing. So other kind of conflict can be triggered by emotions. People, all of us, we having wants from the past, experience. Even in dating, you approach a new dating maybe, and in the past you experience ABC, so you enter this new chapter with some too much legacy from the past. Sorry again, the ant. So you have emotion and sensitivity, outburst, heritage, legacy from previous scars. So another very pragmatic thing is to take break and pauses before reacting instinctively, to have a clear picture of what's going on. So in order to minimize the chance that an escalation is there, acknowledge the feelings of the other person, try to make things more pragmatic, more in a way that are very realistic, not too much far from reality, not too much in a way distant from what is the topic and the subject that the people is discussing in a specific context. So understand exactly the feeling of the other person, and maybe when we are talking about emotion, why not involve a specialist? That can be a coach, a therapist, professional person in charge to give objectivity to the things, because talking about emotion is talking about humanity, talking about what is differentiating a lot from other species. We have a huge wide range of emotion that are unique in human being, and having somebody professional, expert, specialist can definitely bring us to the next level of the discussion in a more helpful way. When people compete, maybe last point I want to touch today is when people compete on a specific resource. That can be financial resource, money of course, can be the attention, can be a space, a specific object. Wow, that's definitely something else that can create friction and rough time and so on. In case like this, it's important to have a wise approach again and try to prioritize the allocation of this resource, who can use what, which is the specific people that can use in a specific time this or that, or maybe having more detail on what's next. having a very transparent agreement of who can do what and what's the system in place, who can share what, and ultimately is the compromises out there, like openly discuss on if there is scarcity on something, if there is like a major issue, a major threat, let's have a very clear compromise that can somebody bring to a win-win solution. I think that this, if I can recap again, once again, we can have a communication conflict, we can have a priority based on values, principle values conflict, we can have power conflict due to some different hierarchy and position of people, the emotional one, and ultimately we saw the competition for a common resource or a scarcity situation. Well, let's have before leaving a kind of final way out general approach. So I think we can divide in other 5 points. Empathy. So we have to try always to bring empathy to the table, try to put ourselves in each other's shoes, to see with eyes that are not only our perspective. This it helps to move from a stuck situation. Second point is having direct conversation, because we have to be straightforward sometimes, transparent in a way that addressing properly in an early stage, especially an issue, before regret, resentment, and negative feeling builds up, it can definitely make the difference. And number 3, I would say having a mediation. Having a mediation is when two parties are stuck before an escalation is there that most probably will be not good for anybody. Having a objective, equidistant view can bring a fresh, can be a refreshed picture, and having a third party equidistant person can help the parties to see more clearly through the storm, right? Number 4 is probably a different mindset. We can call it growth mindset, we can call it open mindset, open mentality, but when you have conflict, it seems to be something obvious, but take this as an opportunity to see other way out. Like maybe from conflict, it can also be the chance that a relationship improves. Even at work, if you're struggling with a colleague or counterpart somewhere that asks you something that for you is like a no-fly zone, and ultimately, after an initial effort, this becoming a resource for you for a next time you will facing a similar situation, or can make you grow, or can give you such an additional experience that looking back you say, wow, that criticality make me upgrade to a kind of updated version of me, of my knowledge, of my expertise. So again, this, let's call it growth mindset. And maybe last but not least, we can consider what is the commitment to make a solution to things. So ensure that both the parties are arriving to something that can be agreed, can be clear, can be out of the foggy. So let's call it commitment to solution. So not just make there in a way that you're just bringing on the table your issue, your problem, your difficulties, but having a takeaway positive in terms of solution. I think so far these approaches are very pragmatic. Of course, must be tailor-made to every situation, every specific personal need, but whether they are personal, professional, or I would say in any context, they can be quite general. They can be good principle to be implemented in every situation. For me, for example, today was also the case not to have a conflict with someone, but conflict with myself. I say no, I wanna sit down, make my own video with a proper checklist, my step, and I say no, let's be a little bit in discomfort, because I have to find a place where I sit comfortable for a moment to sit down, make a talk live without to prepare script. Of course, there is some topic in mind and some takeaway that I have in mind. But the way I expressing today in this way, quite live, no editing, nothing. I decided to do like this. It helped me to make something new, and again, it can be useful. You never know. So hope you enjoy. It will be great if you guys have to subscribe, make some comment that help the channel grow and give me inspiration for topics and subject that can create more engagement and can be interesting for you, not just seeing my point of view, but exchanging on your view and so on. And thanks for listening, and see you to the next episode.